If there has ever been a weekend where you entertain the thought of missing out on Premier League action, trust me, this weekend shouldn't be one of those. Matchday 2024 will get underway in the Premier League this weekend, and we'll be discussing all that today. Plenty of action to discuss. So, thank you for joining me for wherever it is that you're watching this from. Whether you're watching it now or you will be watching it later. Thank you for taking the time. Welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sarkos. So, without any further ado, let's dive straight into it. Matchday 2024 will have plenty of action to offer, but it does kick off on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. East African time when the reigning champions Manchester City do host the Toffees of Everton at home at the Etihad Stadium. Now, action will continue at 6 p.m. when Fulham do host FC Bournemouth, while Liverpool will welcome Burnley at Anfield. Luton Town will host Sheffield United, while Tottenham will be at home against Brighton. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be at the Molineux Stadium against Brentford, while Newcastle United will close Saturday action when they make a trip to Nottingham Forest. On Super Sunday, Arsenal will make a short trip in London when they visit West Ham United, while Aston Villa will be at home against Manchester United. And on Monday night, Chelsea will be away to Selhurst Park when they visit Crystal Palace. So all that is the action that will be coming this match day. So join me as we review some of the big games this weekend. We'll start off things at the Etihad Stadium, where Pep Guardiola will be eager to welcome a relegation-threatened Sean Dyche with his Everton side. Now, Manchester City do come in this game with 9 wins in a row on their names in all competition, while Everton have had quite a bit of a turbulent time in recent times. Pep Guardiola is injury-free. Remember, prior to last weekend's fixture, his only concern, if any, was on defender Manuel Akanji, but according to latest reports, Manchester City do not have any injury news. You can imagine a fully fledged Manchester City side. Trouble. Every title contender or who thinks they are should really feel for themselves with that kind of news. Kevin De Bruyne available, Erling Haaland available, Julian Alvarez, all of them available. Jeremy Doku, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, full squad for this Manchester City side, who seem to have kicked into that gear when they go on to win plenty of games. In the last meeting between these two sides, Manchester City did beat Everton by 3-1 at the Goodison Park. It was Dwight McNeil that picked the only consolation for the Toffees, while on the other side, Julian Alvarez, Phil Foden, and Bernardo Silva were on target for Pep Guardiola's side. And on form, Phil Foden, who in their previous encounter, that's against Brentford, did score a hat-trick as they beat Thomas Frank's side by 3-1 to move back into second place on the table. Now, like I said, Manchester City do play early on Saturday, that is at 3:30 p.m. and a victory for Pep Guardiola will mean that they will leapfrog Liverpool, who are currently on the summit of the Premier League table, as Liverpool will be waiting to welcome Vincent Kompany and his side, Burnley, at Anfield. So, Everton do make this trip with quite a number of injury concerns to deal with or to contend with, including Arnold Danjuma, Amadou Onana, Andre Gomez, as well as Abdoulaye Diakore. And I do think, indeed, that they will miss, especially Abdoulaye Diakore, in that attacking midfield, as well as Amadou Onana. They will miss their physique, they will miss their tenacity in trying to attack this Manchester City side that can be quite relentless in their ball distribution and in the attacks. So, what do I think? It is not far-fetched if I say that Manchester City will be eager to win this one. We all know that Pep Guardiola does relish a pressure game, and I do think against all odds, Manchester City will win this one. The margins may not be as big, but I do expect Manchester City to nick this game and move on to go top of the Premier League summit as they wait for Liverpool to host Burnley. So, in the other game that I thought we should put our eye on, at least slightly, is Tottenham Hotspurs when they host Brighton and Hove Albion. Of course, Brighton have their injuries to contend with, including the likes of Solly Match. They will be without James Milner. They will be without Julio Inacio. So all those will be out of this action, while Tottenham on the other side do have quite a decent team to assemble. We all know South Korea were knocked out of the Asian Cup, and very soon their captain will return. James Maddison is back, as well as Yuvis Bissouma after Mali were knocked out of the Africa Cup of Nations. Pape Matsa has already returned. They have an on-form Richarlison in there. So we do expect a highly contested tie. Now, Brighton and Hove Albion did recover from their 4-0 defeat against Luton Town by beating up Crystal Palace by 4-1. So, this will be another entertaining fixture. Both sides do want to possess the ball. Both managers are very progressive in terms of the kind of football that they want their teams to play. So you can expect goals to see the back of the net on either side in this one. Then, moving forward, I think the other fixtures that I do think we should look at will be Manchester United when they make their trip to Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa, I think, has one of the best performance records in home Premier League games, but in recent times they did suffer defeat when they lost by 3-1 against Newcastle. And in their most recent engagement, that was an FA Cup replay against Chelsea, again at the Villa Park. They did lose by 3-1, with Musa Diaby scoring their only goal of the game, while Chelsea had Conor Gallagher as well as Nicholas Jackson and Enzo Fernandez on target for the Blues. So that's those are 2 defeats in their last 3 games. But prior to this week's FA Cup replay, they had beaten up against Sheffield United by 5-0. Ollie Watkins among those on the score sheet, as well as Yuli Tillemans on the score sheet. John McGinn was one of those on the score sheet, as well as Alex Moreno was also on the score sheet. So beautiful game of football that they had as they went around, or as they went right against Sheffield United. Now, against Manchester United, they have lost 2. They have lost their previous 2 meetings with the Red Devils, and in the previous 3, they've won 1 and lost 2. So last season, Aston Villa did beat this Manchester United side at home by 3-1, but Manchester United did beat Aston Villa around April by 1-0. And then this season, when the 2 sides met at Old Trafford, Manchester United won it late when they beat Aston Villa by 3-2. John McGinn as well as Diedonka had found the back of the net for Unai Emery's side to give them a 2-0 lead heading into before halftime. And then in the second half, we had Alejandro Garnacho who scored a brace to restore a parity for the Red Devils. And guess who stole the whole show when he scored the winner in this one at Old Trafford? It was their summer signing, Rasmus Højlund from Atlanta. Beautiful game of football that was. Nail-biting for Manchester United fans, agony for Aston Villa fans, as United won it 3-2 in that one. So they will think it is a side that they know they can beat. And indeed, when they face them on Sunday, that is on Super Sunday at 7:30 p.m., it is a game that they will relish. Yes, Manchester United do come in this game with a few injuries to contend with. Most critical for them being Lisandro Martinez, who will be out for at least 8 weeks, while Aaron Wan-Bissaka is also out. Tyler Malacia has been out for the better part of the season, so he will also miss this fixture, as well as Anthony Martial will also be absent. The other key note who absentee will be Mason Mount, the summer signing from Chelsea. But Mason Mount has spent the better part of this season on the sick bay, so he hasn't quite had an impact for this Manchester United side as they hoped he would have when they signed him last summer. So those are the injuries that manager Erik ten Hag will have to cope up with when he takes his team to Villa Park, where Unai Emery also has his injury concerns to think about in Tyrone Mings, who has been out for almost the entire season. That's the defender. Emi Buendia is out, is injured. Lucas Digne also injured. Yes, those are some of the key injuries that they do have in their team that they will miss out. I think even Johan Duran will also miss the tie through injury for Unai Emery's side. So what are the expectations for this one? Given how Manchester United have behaved the entire season, it's really hard to say. Although they do come into this game having beaten up against West Ham by 3-0. So, given how Manchester United have applied themselves the entire season, they've been sort of hot and cold, if you know what I mean. And then most of their victories have been quite edgy, and I do think this will be an edgy game for both sides. Aston Villa are not in the highest of forms, so it does come at a time when Manchester United have gotten a grip of their winning ways, while Aston Villa are trying to regain them. So I do think both teams will score, but to say that Manchester United will win this game would be me selling my soul like a hen trying to swallow a black ant. So I won't do that. So those that are enthusiasts for either side, do watch out for that game on Super Sunday at 7:30 p.m. East African time. And still on Super Sunday, the other game will be between Arsenal and West Ham. Now, the Gunners will make a short trip in the capital to visit West Ham United. Now, this is a London derby, and Arsenal has not performed well against West Ham in recent times. In the last 4 meetings between the two sides, Arsenal beat West Ham by 3-1. That was after the FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. It was their first game that they played when everybody thought that returning back with the form they had gone into the World Cup with would have been difficult. But yes, they came back and beat West Ham by 3-1. In the reverse fixture for last season, West Ham held Arsenal to a 2-2 draw as they further dented their hopes of winning the Premier League title. Remember, Arsenal had taken a 2-0 lead in that game, but West Ham did come from down to level matters, and it ended in a 2-2 draw. Ever since then, Arsenal have signed West Ham's superstar in Declan Rice for £100 million, and their fortunes have since changed in midfield, perhaps for the better. But nonetheless, be that as of it may, West Ham did beat Arsenal in the Premier League in the first leg at the Emirates Stadium by 2-0. And it didn't stop. It didn't stop at that, because West Ham had also beaten this Arsenal side by 3-1 as they knocked them out of the Carabao Cup. So it is a side that they know how to beat when they are really up for it. And this is going to be a very huge test for this Arsenal side, who come into the game on the back of having beaten Liverpool by 3-1, while West Ham do come in this fixture on the back of a 3-0 loss against Manchester United. Both sides do have their injuries to contend with, latest for Arsenal being Gabriel Jesus, who is struggling with a knee injury or concern. He seems to come play one game and then the issue sort of resurfaces and goes back to the sick bay. The other is Fabio Vieira, and as well as Alexander Zichenko, who is struggling with a calf injury. He was withdrawn at halftime in their 3-1 victory against Liverpool and was replaced by Jakub Kiwior. The good news for Arsenal, though, is that Takehiro Tomiyasu has returned from the Asian Cup, where he has been for the last 1 month, so he could be available for selection to start in that left back role. Then the other, of course, is Thomas Partey, also still injured. Mikel Arteta says it won't be too long before he welcomes him back. However, he was hesitant on stating with absolute certainty the time scope which will take the Ghanaian international to recover from that injury setback that he did suffer. And of course, the other is Urian Timber, who got injured on the first day or match day 1 of the Premier League this season after making that summer move from Ajax. Ever since then, he has not kicked a ball for this Arsenal side. But like I did reveal in the course of this week, for those that follow me on my Facebook, that Urian Timber had been included in Arsenal's Champions League squad. Whereas the tie again between Arsenal and AFC Porto at the round of 16 may come a little too early for Urian Timber. It goes without saying that should they progress to the quarterfinals, he may be available for selection and then to play for them. So then on the other side, West Ham do have 2 critical injuries to worry about. That is Lucas Paqueta, who is injured, who is out with a knee injury, as well as striker Michael Antonio. Now, Michael Antonio has recovered, but is a big doubt for this game. Maybe fitness tests will prove otherwise, but he may be unavailable for this particular fixture for David Moyes' selection. So, but like I said, West Ham have beaten Arsenal before. They do have the players that can hurt this Arsenal side. Gerard Bowen has been one of those players on form this season, as well as Mohamed Kudus, who did score against this Arsenal side in that 2-0 defeat in the Premier League. Still, they do have a James Ward-Prowse in there that is quite capable of hurting this Arsenal side. And of course, in defense, they do have a former Arsenal player in Mavropanos. So, he's also available to play in this fixture. It's one of those games where it can go either way. Arsenal can choose to be disappointing on the day when you least expect them, especially on the back of last weekend's big victory. They can't really choose to disappoint you. But my expectations is that Mikel Arteta, with the exception of Alexander Zichenko, may parade the same lineup that he did. Maybe the other questionable decision or change he may make may be between Jorginho and Emile Smith-Rowe. Wanting to be on the front foot from the onset, he may want to swap between Jorginho and Emile Smith-Rowe. But I do think, having produced a man of the match performance against Liverpool, that Jorginho does deserve his place in the starting lineup to play against West Ham in that double pivot when they travel to the London Stadium. So that's the other game on Sunday that will be played. There will be 2 games, while the other fixture will come on Monday when Chelsea do travel to Crystal Palace. Of course, we all know Chelsea's problems in the Premier League. They are really struggling, as well as Crystal Palace. They are struggling themselves. Just like I said, they did lose by 4-1 in their last fixture. And of course, we saw the booze. We saw the placards that were being put up saying the club lacks structure, trying to call their board and chairman to order. Reports have also come out to reveal that Crystal Palace have pondered having to sack Roy Hodgson before things get out of hand. But they are struggling to find a potential replacement who is willing to take on this job at this stage of the season. So they will have to stay with the old man of the Premier League clan at the moment in Roy Hodgson there, the former Fulham boss, as well as Liverpool and the England national team. So that's it. That's all I had for you in this weekend matchday 2024 preview. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that we can grow this channel. And I'll see you next time. For those that can afford to, do not forget to join me on Facebook, where I'll be doing some live broadcasts so that we can engage more about some of these fixtures and for other news that will be coming from the world of football. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and have a wonderful weekend.